On June 2, 1582, while Ieyasu was visiting Nobunaga's Azuchi castle to celebrate their joint conquest of Takeda, he went on a tour of Sakai, a bustling trading town in Osaka. It was during this excursion that he received the shocking news of Nobunaga and his son Nobutada's assassination. They were killed by Akechi Mitsuhide, who had been entertaining Ieyasu at their castle just a few days earlier. Historical accounts mention that the Black Samurai Yasuke was present and fought to protect them during the incident. There are many key players, so let's meet them by comparing them to modern-day corporate executives. Oda Nobunaga, CEO of Oda Corporation. Over the past 2 decades, he has transformed the local company he inherited into a dominant force throughout Japan. He had a penchant for new things and excelled at selecting the best among them. This unconventional approach, along with his often baffling actions and statements, earned him the nickname Ori's Idiot. A modern neuroscientist, analyzing historical records, has even compared his personality to that of a psychopath. Yasuke, Nobunaga's bodyguard. He probably witnessed Nobunaga's last moments. He survived the incident, but what happened to him afterward is unknown. The enigmatic Yasuke is an ideal protagonist for a creative samurai fiction that respects historical accuracy. In fact, a film had been planned with Marvel actor Chadwick Boseman starring as Yasuke, but was cancelled when he passed away in 2020. Oda Nobutada, president of the Oda Corporation. He officially wields full authority and successfully conquers the Takeda clan. In his youth, he was known as Kimio Maru, where Kimio means bizarre. Oda Nobukatsu, the second son of Nobunaga. After the death of his father and older brother, he takes over as acting president. Under them, there are 5 executives. Akechi Mitsuhide, Executive Director and General Manager of the Central Region Kinki. A mid-career recruit with the highest sales performance, he had just organized the celebration party for Takeda's conquest. Although he killed them and usurped their company, his tenure would not last long. Therefore, he would be called the 3 Days Unifier. The contemporary physician and Confucian scholar Amuro Sensei has described him as a strict and honest man. Hashiba Hideyoshi, probably because of his appearance, his nickname is Monkey. Executive Director and General Manager of the Western Region Chugoku. He came up through the ranks and built his career from the ground up. He currently holds the 2nd highest sales record. That contemporary physician, Amuro Sensei, has described him as a bold and open-minded person. The main character of this video, Tokugawa Ieyasu, CEO of Tokugawa Company, an affiliated business partner. His sneakiness earned him the nickname Tanuki, which translates to Sly Fox in English. This reputation likely stems from his long years as a hostage and the betrayal that led to the deaths of his grandfather and father. He's currently visiting Oda's headquarters in Azuchi with a delegation of executives. Accompanying them to the Sakai inspection is Hattori Hanzo, a sales manager from Tokugawa. Finding himself in a dangerous position, Ieyasu quickly flees. Targeted by Mitsuhide's pursuers and opportunistic attackers, he loses many of his companions. Ieyasu even contemplates suicide, but his retainers persuade him to continue his escape. He is escorted by the reported ninja, Hattori Hanzo, through Hanzo's home province, Iga Province, and several other provinces, all the way to Mikawa. The Oda clan's new territories of Kai, Shinano, and Kozuke provinces lost stability, leading to many uprisings in the absence of lordship in these regions. The people of this era, including peasants, are often armed, some even with military training. This power vacuum draws in neighboring daimyos, each vying for supremacy. In the ensuing chaos, Ieyasu seizes control of the Kai and Shinano provinces, solidifying his position as a powerful daimyo. In addition, Ieyasu recruits former Takeda retainers, integrating their renowned Red Cavalry units and adapting Shingen strategies into his own forces. Thus, he would solidify his reputation as a formidable field commander. Meanwhile, following Nobunaga's assassination, Hashiba Hideyoshi, who had put down Mitsuhide's rebellion, assumed control of the Oda government. Friction soon arose, however, between Hideyoshi and Oda Nobukatsu, Nobunaga's second son. Seeking to strengthen his position, Nobukatsu turns to Ieyasu, a longtime Oda ally, for reinforcements. In 1584, tensions between Hideyoshi and Ieyasu escalate, leading to a battle that involves all of Japan. Despite being outnumbered, Ieyasu's forces reversal at the Battle of Komaki-Nagakute. Initially, Ieyasu had the advantage, but eventually, Hideyoshi would emerge victorious. This conflict was initiated by Hideyoshi and Nobukatsu, with Ieyasu participating as a supporter. Against all odds, Nobukatsu makes peace with Hideyoshi. Subsequently, Ieyasu's allies suffer defeats at the hands of Hideyoshi. Also during this conflict, Hideyoshi is appointed Konpaku, the emperor's regent, and would become known as Toyotomi no Hideyoshi. This means that Hideyoshi has officially become the boss of Ieyasu. If Ieyasu did not obey Hideyoshi, he would become an enemy of the emperor. Ieyasu demonstrated his skill in tactical warfare on the battlefield, but Hideyoshi proved to be the superior strategist, outmaneuvering Ieyasu through diplomacy and politics. In 1586, in an attempt to further corner Ieyasu, Hideyoshi recruits Ishikawa Kazumasa, a second-ranking retainer of Ieyasu who possessed all information about the Tokugawa clan. Thereupon, Hideyoshi urges Ieyasu to submit, but Ieyasu refuses, setting the stage for an inevitable clash between the two. Fate intervenes dramatically in the form of a devastating earthquake, estimated at 8.0 on the Richter scale, that strikes Hideyoshi's territory. Ogaki, his forward base for the attack on Ieyasu, suffers immense destruction. Food supplies for the campaign are consumed in the ensuing fires. This unforeseen disaster forces Hideyoshi to abandon plans for immediate military action against Ieyasu and instead adopt a more conciliatory approach. In the same year, to cement his allegiance to Hideyoshi, Ieyasu marries Hideyoshi's sister and is granted the surname Hashiba as a token of appreciation. This suggests that Ieyasu, who was on the verge of extinction, is recognized as the second figure within the Toyotomi government. What is the Konpaku to which Hideyoshi was appointed? It is a job title within the Japanese royal court. This position is part of a broader system known as Konshoku. It is also one of the elements of a samurai's name, similar to the first and last names introduced in the previous video. However, during the Sengoku period, when Ieyasu was active, the royal court no longer held any real political power. As a result, the Konshoku positions were primarily honorary titles. These positions didn't involve any actual duties but served to clarify one's place in the hierarchy. The position held by Hideyoshi, Konpaku, was an unofficial regent of the emperor and was considered the highest rank in the court after the emperor. When an informal Konpaku retires, he would be called a taiko. In the TV series Shogun, this term taiko is used. Hideyoshi, originally a peasant, reached the pinnacle of his career, surpassing even his former master Nobunaga's rank of Minister of the Right. The Minister of the Right, or Udaijin, held a high position equivalent to that of a modern Japanese Prime Minister. The court structure was inspired by China's Tang dynasty, where the Minister of the Left, or Sadaijin, ranked slightly higher than the Minister of the Right. In the Chinese courts, the superiority of the left and the right varied from dynasty to dynasty. The Grand Minister, or Daijyo Daijin, was a temporary position that acted as the highest official, much like a regent for the emperor in certain situations. Hideyoshi held this position at the same time. Ieyasu, at that time, held the position of Gon no Dainagon, a rank below the ministers. The Dainagon had a status similar to that of a Minister of State. This position had a fixed capacity, and the prefix Gon indicated that the number of people holding the position had increased beyond that capacity. The shogun, also known as Seitai Shogun, was leader of an expeditionary force. The unofficial position of shogun was lower than Hideyoshi's unofficial regent and Nobunaga's Minister of the Right. Although Nobunaga was not appointed shogun, he served as a general or ukon no daisho, a role higher than that of shogun. This position was responsible for the emperor's security and is upward compatible with the title ukon, held by the character Kiyama in the TV series Shogun. Ukon represents the royal security on the right, while Sakon refers to the left. The power of the shogun varied from period to period, with the greatest increase in power occurring after the accession of Ieyasu. Incidentally, after receiving the regent Konpaku, Hideyoshi became known as Toyotomi no Hideyoshi, but he did not change his family name from Hoshiba to Toyotomi. As a refresher from the previous video, he was given a new lineage name, ŌUCHI, by the emperor, which updated his ŌUCHI to Toyotomi. Thus, Hideyoshi's family name, Myoji, remained Hoshiba. However, as the head of the Toyotomi ŌUCHI, he probably did not have the opportunity to use his family name, since family names, Myoji, are used to classify lineage names, ŌUCHI. Although samurai names changed frequently, remember that names were important to them. Let's go back to the story of Ieyasu. Ieyasu, who was saved from major military defeat by a well-timed devastating earthquake, became a retainer of Hideyoshi. From Hideyoshi's perspective, he didn't completely control Ieyasu, who still remained a considerable military force. Hideyoshi, aiming to control all of Japan, had to refrain from taking action against the Hojo clan, which was allied with Ieyasu. Consequently, Hideyoshi sought to pacify the western regions first. In 1587, ŌTOMO Sōrin of North Kyushu region, cornered by the Shimazu clan, who had expanded their influence in the region, requested reinforcements from Hideyoshi. Seeing this as an opportunity, Hideyoshi begins a military intervention in the Kyushu region. Although his advanced troops suffer a crushing defeat, he sends more troops, a large army of 100,000 men, and subdues the Shimazu clan. In the end, it is Hideyoshi and not ŌTOMO or Shimazu who absorbs the Kyushu region. Having brought Kyushu under his control, Hideyoshi faces a new challenge, the rise of tensions surrounding Christianity. He is motivated by concerns about forced conversions, the destruction of religious sites, and even Japanese being enslaved by Christian forces like the Jesuits and Don Francisco. Fearing the growing influence of Christianity, Hideyoshi takes a step expelling Christians from Japan. This happens a decade before the arrival of William Adams, an English sailor who becomes a samurai, and main character in the TV series Shogun. In 1590, with Hideyoshi's control firmly established in western Japan, Ieyasu receives orders to participate in the siege of Odawara. A massive army of 150,000 soldiers surrounds the Hojo clan, who have defied Hideyoshi's authority, and the Hojo are finally forced to surrender. Another giant falls before his eyes. Ieyasu must have asked himself, "What have I done differently from the Hojo?" Rural Edo, the new territory he received in exchange for his participation, may offer an income larger than his previous holdings, but it is undeveloped at this time. This relocation to Edo, distant from Kyoto, is a demotion disguised as a promotion. After the Hojo is destroyed, the feudal lords of the Tohoku region successively submit to Hideyoshi, completing the unification of Japan. In 1592, Hideyoshi launches a massive invasion of Korea with the ultimate goal of conquering China's Ming dynasty. A large army of 160,000 men, composed primarily of daimyos from western Japan, crosses the sea to launch the attack. Ieyasu's army waits in Kyushu, ready to invade, but in the end he never crosses the sea. It is not known whether this is due to orders or his own will. The following year, an armistice is signed between Japan and the Ming dynasty, and peace negotiations begin. Before and after the first invasion of Korea, the Toyotomi government, seemingly at its zenith, is shaken by a series of disturbing events. In January 1591, Hideyoshi's younger brother and chief advisor, Hidenaga, dies of an illness. Just 1 month later, another trusted confidant, the renowned tea master, Sen no Rikyu, is ordered by Hideyoshi to commit seppuku. In September of the same year, Hideyoshi's 2-year-old first son died of an illness. This purge culminates in 1595 with the execution of Hidetsugu, Hideyoshi's nephew and designated successor as Konpaku. These successive deaths cast a long shadow, threatening the fragile peace the regime had established. the government's collapse would inevitably lead to a resurgence of war. In 1597, the Ming dynasty presents Hideyoshi with a gold seal recognizing him as the King of Japan, but Hideyoshi is furious because his demands have not been met. It is discovered that the peace negotiators from both Japan and the Ming dynasty have falsified reports to facilitate a peace agreement. As a result, negotiators on both sides are punished, and Hideyoshi resumes the invasion of the Ming dynasty. During these two invasions, a rift develops between the warlords fighting on the front lines and the civilian officials, including Ishida Mitsunari, who manages logistics and administration. This division will soon have significant repercussions, as you can see in the next video. The following year, 1598, Hideyoshi dies of an illness. Before he dies, he entrusts Ieyasu with the guardianship of his young successor, Hideyori. After the falls of Yoshimoto, Shingen and Nobunaga, another giant has fallen. Ieyasu, now 56, has seen the rise and fall of countless figures who once dominated the landscape. This time, however, something is different. Years of experience and the strength of countless battles have hardened him. He is no longer a mere witness, but a player ready to seize the moment.
Help motivate us to make more videos by liking and subscribing. Thank you for watching!